Labor unions and SEPTA are currently in talks with the city of Philadelphia with the possibility of three strikes happening at the same time. Tyrone Bowman live. Welcome to the program and the conversation on this morning. So let's just talk about it as reported by 6ABC WPVI-TV. SEPTA officials spent the Friday inside a conference room at the Wyndham Hotel in Old City as they negotiated with the union representing workers who have authorized to strike. The talks have been happening there for more than a week, but that isn't the only possible strike situation the city of Philadelphia is facing. The three unions representing some of the city's most essential workers are all considering the same action, a strike. Both sides are at the table. We're having productive discussions, said SEPTA spokesperson Andrew Bush of negotiations with the Transit Workers Union Local 234, which represents workers who handle transportation operations within the city of Philadelphia. That union represents more than 4,000 SEPTA city employees. And right now there is a SEPTA guide, 2024 SEPTA guide available. So what do you do in the event that a strike takes place? So, well, let me break it down. We're still having difficulty getting to wages and other costs because of the funding shortfall that SEPTA has right now, said Bush. Though the union voted to authorize a strike, it's been avoided as both sides have stayed at the bargaining table at the Wyndham Hotel in Old City, also negotiating with SEPTA, Smart Local 1594, the union representing SEPTA workers in the suburbs. So they voted to authorize a strike with a contract expiring at the end of the day on November 18th. So what's to take place if the strike occurs? Let me go back to the article for a moment. So we must meet with them, we just met with them the other day, and the talks didn't get too far, said Anthony Petty, General Chairman of Smart Local 1594. Demanding better pay and a safety plan, the suburban SEPTA workers have the same asks as the city SEPTA workers. We feel for them and they feel for us, and we stand side by side with them, said Petty. Well, what they need to do, SEPTA needs to get down to business and stop playing games and come to a satisfying negotiable settlement so that everybody is pleased. But the one thing that SEPTA has to understand, the concessions that were made in the last contract should not be given up. Workers should not have to give up pay. They should not have to give up health care benefits or anything else. There must be an equitable way to get this solved before it is too late. Because once the strike goes into effect, all hell is going to break loose because it's not going to end anytime soon. The last time SEPTA had a major strike was in the year 1976. And that was a terrible strike. It lasted for 40 days and 40 nights. Another group that voted to authorize a strike is the blue-collar employees of the city of Philadelphia, including sanitation workers. Our contract expiration was July 1st, 2024, said Greg Bowman, president of District 33. Let me make sure that my feed is operating properly here, ladies and gentlemen, because it seems to be stalling for some reason, and I don't know why, so I got to check it out before I can continue with this article. All right, now that I got that problem solved, let's get back to the article. So District Council 33 is Philadelphia's largest city workers union. It's negotiating for better wages. Our members on average earn between $39,000 and $45,000, said Baldwin. In a city like this, it's not a livable wage. As the city of Philadelphia negotiates with one union, SEPTA also remains in negotiations, all hoping to prevent three strikes. The union representing suburban SEPTA workers is pausing negotiations over the weekend. They'll come back to the table on Monday. If they don't reach an agreement, service will be impacted starting Tuesday. However, Even if both the city and suburban SEPTA workers go on strike, the regional rail service would not be impacted since those workers already have a contract. Well, if they have a contract, then get the contract done in Philadelphia as well to avoid all this unnecessary uh, happenstance. It doesn't have to happen. So if it doesn't have to happen, let's put an end to it before it is too late. In a related article, the question was asked, could SEPTA be saved from fiscal cliff by federal infrastructure funds? Some city council members think so. Well, the problem is with the incoming Trump administration, I doubt very seriously if he is going to send money to a Democratic city because overwhelmingly the city did not vote for President-elect Trump. And you know how the man is. He believes in paying people back. So a resolution introduced at Thursday's meeting proposes flexing more money or money from highway projects to the public transportation. Some city workers want the state to prioritize funding for SEPTA over spending money on highways. Pennsylvania will receive billions in federal funding through the Infrastructure and Jobs Act, while the act recommends allocating 80% of the funds for highway-related projects and 20% to those related to mass transit. States have some discretion rather, in how they can spend the money. It's a possible call flexing that is permissible by the law, and council member at large Nicholas O'Rourke introduced a resolution at Thursday's encouraging the state to take advantage of those and other federal dollars and redirect money to SEPTA instead of highway projects. City Council will vote on the resolution at its next meeting slated for November 21st. Councilmember Jamie Gaither, the Democrat from the 3rd District, and Rue Landau, Democrat at large, already expressed support for the legislation. O'Rourke's resolution references analysis by the Urban Institute that shows SEPTA's operations budget could increase by 23% if Governor Josh Shapiro and the Delaware Valley Regional Planning Commission reallocate the funds. The idea is a Hail Mary as SEPTA faces budget deficit of $240 million, and some lawmakers scramble to find solutions. Earlier this week, SEPTA floated a plan to reduce service, increase fares from $2 currently to $2.90 on trains, buses, and trolleys, and raise regional rail prices to as much as $8.75. The fare increases would go into effect starting January 1 of 2025. On Thursday, the Inquirer reported that SEPTA also would halt plans to roll out its bus revolution, a revamping of its bus system that began more than 2 years ago. At the council meeting, O'Rourke, a member of the Working Families Party, noted the urgency of the issue. The Pennsylvania Senate and House of Representatives had their final sessions for the year on Wednesday. Making state intervention at a policy level less likely, President-elect Donald Trump takes office in January, and he repeatedly attempted to slash funding for public transportation during his first term. Now, you know that the Republican-dominated legislature, they're not going to agree to any monies for SEPTA. This is our last chance, the last one to save SEPTA from its impending death spiral, and Governor Shapiro has the power to avoid this actual catastrophe, O'Rourke said. It's not the first time state government has used flex funding for SEPTA. In 2005, former Governor Ed Rendell relied on it in part for a $414 million bailout for public transit, and he called on it again in 2010 to pressure the General Assembly into passing Act 89, a 10-year transit funding bill. There is momentum on the state and federal level to aid SEPTA, but it hasn't been enough to make a real difference so far. Members of Congress representing Pennsylvania announced Thursday that $407 million from the Infrastructure Act would be spent on transportation in southeastern Pennsylvania. Of that sum, Amtrak will receive $404 million for rail efficiency and reliability. SEPTA will get $3 million for a study on improving service capacity between Trenton, New Jersey, Newark, Delaware, and part of the Reimagining Regional Rail Plan. Earlier this year, Shapiro proposed adding $283 million to the state public transport budget, and SEPTA would have gotten $161 million from it. Republicans blocked the effort in the state Senate, and the transit agency instead received $46.2 million from the state budget and $6.9 million from 5 counties in the Southeast. I will keep you updated on what's happening with Philadelphia and the unions and with the possibility of an upcoming impending strike. Tyrone Bowman, never surrender, never quit.